Not me forgetting how to use my camera. Hey guys, how are you doing? Hola, mi gente, ¿cómo estás? How you doing? How you living? It's been a minute. I think we left off in April is my life story. So at the end of April, I started hanging out with Basic Bitch, and it was basically my second home for like a month or so. And then he had to go. He was doing the thing with the migrants, like doing the drive thing with the migrants, and we were still talking while he was on the road, but eventually, like, it does what it does, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest with you. I know part of me, it was like around July the 7th. Well, it was July the 7th the last time I sent a message. And then July 8th, like, some devastating things happened. July 8th, like, my favorite asshole, he came back in June for some unknown reason after over a year of absence and no answer to the box situation. Well, he did answer. He said he never got it, but he didn't answer it last year when I asked him about it. So it is what it is, I guess. But then he did ask about where's my necklace. So I was like, was he referring to me not wearing it, or was he referring to it not being in the box? I don't know. Overthought. Anyways, my favorite asshole came back, and on the 8th, he sent an SOS to me with regard to himself. He basically left me that message, and then we haven't really talked since. At that time that he texted me, he didn't know this, so it's not like I could be mad at him for not knowing this, but what I can be mad at is the fact that he's being inconsiderate when I'm trying to help him, and then he just doesn't say anything. But I have been in a bad way with my mental health, so I definitely understand not being able to articulate things and kind of removing yourself from society as a whole, because I only answer my mental health when it's bad in 2 ways, maybe 3, like maybe 4: eating, drinking, elevating with removing myself from society, and sex. I guess that's more. So I was trying not to do the sex part. I was gonna say I've been clean for 90 days, almost 90 days. In the middle of this month, we'll make 90 days. So I was trying not to do that, which is kind of good that me and Basic Bitch stopped talking, because honestly, like, I wasn't in a good way and I would use the fuck out of him. So, the last few months have just been really hard, financially, emotionally, physically. Everything. Work started getting affected due to my mental health status, and you know, I feel bad because, you know, a lot of stuff happened on our team just recently, and we go by teams as far as performance goes, and we've just been heavily impacted by me and another person who were essentially bringing in top numbers every month. So it's been kind of rough on our team that our mental health status has been affected. It's just been a hard month in general. It's been a hard few months. My ex's, he had a family member pass away. I was trying to be there for him, and I wasn't doing it right, apparently. So before the family member passed away, I took him out, and I was like trying to get his mind off of it, and we went to a place he chose, which was Olive Garden, for a person that doesn't eat meat and doesn't consume soft cheeses. So that was obviously not the place for me to go, and the soup and salad combination would have been a good one, but they only had one option for someone like me, so I felt very limited as usual, and I hated it. We had a decent time and everything, and it wasn't like horrible, but after we had that time together, he did start questioning me about like my sex life, who I was doing what with, and then I started getting questioned by Basic Bitch, and even my favorite asshole asked me questions regarding my sex life. It was a very weird time, and I was dealing with GSP, He was gone up until like a few months ago, and he was having his little problems. He actually ended up going to South Korea, which was actually where my favorite asshole was. And I was like, oh my god. But he was questioning me, and eventually we fell off because I just couldn't handle it. Weirdly enough, because I don't remember doing this, but it's something that it sounded like when he told me the story back, it sounded definitely like me. So apparently one day when I was drunk, I turned my location on for him in case I died, because that's always the reason. And so I was at the park a couple days ago, and he showed up at the park because he had my location. So I thought that was kind of weird, but like he had my location, so I guess I don't know. I mean, I was just shocked to see him. And then he tried to be like a person that he wasn't, and he was like being kind of like not aggressively mean, but like I don't know, it's just not his personality. At least the personality that I met, it was not the person I knew. So he was being kind of weird, but he wanted to like hang out and stuff. And this is my weekend essentially after we've seen each other for the first time in a while, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I don't know, and plus I would probably use him for sex. So yeah. And then Jer, he ended up getting sent to another location as well. He's still stateside, but he's been going through it too with me, with like I don't know, everybody's questioning me. Even like the principal was questioning me, and about like anytime I tell him I'm like, oh, my friend this, he'll be like, is it a guy, is it a girl? And I'm like, what? Why does it matter? I really haven't been talking to anyone, but I guess I've just been in this reserve space because I don't know how to help myself right now, and I'm sending out life rafts to people that need it. And like with my favorite asshole, he asked for this life raft from me, and then he didn't accept it, and I was drowning, but he didn't know that. When he messaged me, I was holding my guinea pig who had just passed away, and I felt responsible for what happened, and I just can't let it go for some reason. Like it haunts me a lot. Everyone's trying to tell me it wasn't my fault and everything, and try to assure me, because like I can only do so much within a certain amount of time, but I am responsible for every person in this home. I'm responsible for every fur baby in this home. So when I can't do something, when I need to do something, how I need to do something right away, and it impacts one of the children, which are adults, I get it, I know, one of my kids, one of my pets, it just makes me feel like I failed, and I feel like a huge failure right now. Like it's not leaving me, it's not leaving my body, it's not leaving my mind or my heart. So I feel like a huge failure right now. And so I was holding my guinea pig because, you know, like before, I don't know how to put them down after they pass. It's like so final, and his body was still so warm, and I was still petting him, and he was still with me as far as I was concerned. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I spiraled really bad at that point, and you guys are probably like, oh, it's a guinea pig, but it was a culmination of things. But he took me to like that place. He's a living, breathing being, and it just took me out. So that morning, it happened right before I was getting ready for work, as everything tends to. I was getting ready for work. I went to go check on him because he was in the hospital the night before for a heat stroke. The AC had broken the house, and I was going back and forth with my warranty company and about getting it fixed. Ultimately, they denied it, and I ended up spending like $3,000 for this AC unit to be fixed, because once I got one part fixed, another part failed. So I'm going back and forth with my warranty company and everything. So it didn't get fixed. It was a while before it got fixed. And then my My parents came, my AC was still down, but not, like, they didn't feel it when it completely went out. When the motor and everything went out, they didn't feel that type of heat. So it was still working when they came in June, like late June, but it wasn't working how it should have. But it was still doing enough that wasn't terrible. Then once the motor like flipping went out, it was reading about 105 in the house pretty much all the time. I ordered an AC unit, like a portable one, until I can get the motor fixed, and it came 2 days after Pepe passed away. I have 2 portable ACs. What I was doing was taking them, the guinea pigs, and my dog. My son's dog wouldn't come with me, but my dog and the guinea pigs into my workspace, because ultimately it was for my workspace anyways, because there is no vent where I work, so it's hot there. There's no vent or anything. Whoever made the house, well, Saratoga, they're stupid. So there's no vent in the sunroom at all, and so it gets really, really, really hot there, and that's where my office is. So I was like, I'm gonna put a portable AC in now that the AC is, you know, gonna be fixed, you know, so it's cool everywhere. Well, yeah, it worked for all of 30 minutes, and then it went out, and that was the motor right after that. And they were like, yeah, this is typical, and I was like, I don't know what you're speaking of, like how. So finally get everything fixed, but we did lose Pepe. And then I was using my portable AC, and I went to go vacuum. There's a GFCI outlet out here in between my kid's room, and it went out. The people that built the house, we had a foreman that I absolutely despise that was pretty much lazy for Saratoga Homes. I saw him outside my house the other day too, because they're building more houses, but he's super lazy. This outlet had problems while we were still under warranty with Saratoga. This motherfucker told me to just push with all my might, and that was very dangerous. Even the electrician was like, you should not be putting that item into a socket. It could slip, anything could happen. The only thing saving me is that the wires were loose, and that was pretty much a dead outlet, you know. So it went out, and they put a new one in, which the foreman that did it before should have done it, but he didn't do it. And my ex is a punk, and he didn't request it, so everything that I was doing I had to wait for my ex to say, because he was mad disrespectful to me. But it was so the electricians came out, but like I lost it that day, because it was just one thing after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, and I just couldn't stop screaming. Like, I was crying, I was screaming, I was losing absolutely every part of my mental health. It just went, it flatlined at that point. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what my next step was. I just felt absolutely like lost. And then I was just like, I'm gonna get this fixed, but something else is gonna happen, and it's just gonna keep being like this. And this is my life now, is just constantly fixing things, getting denied from my warranty company, and like coming out thousands and thousands of dollars, like my water heater earlier this year. Like, it was just gonna be like that. And I was like, I don't want this house, I don't want nothing to do with this house anymore. Like, I literally don't want it. It was just too much. As I'm doing all this, other people are going through things, and I'm like trying, but I'm not fully functional. My ex is like, you didn't do this right when my grandfather passed away. Like, you didn't do this or that. First of all, like, I don't owe you anything. I'm being a kind person, but I don't owe anyone anything. And I don't ask him for anything. I asked him for a ride to go to the take Pepe in, but I don't ask this man for anything. He'll hit me up for gas money, for whatever he felt comfortable hitting me up for, but I didn't do that to him. I didn't ask him for shit. He makes more money in a month than me. How, like, huh? You could just hit me up or accuse me of not caring when I'm doing, you know, what I can. And I called him on the day that his grandfather passed away on my lunch break. Like, I shouldn't be dealing with that on my lunch break. I should have waited. And he's like, you didn't come, you didn't do this or that. And after Pepe, he dropped us off at the house. And right after that, he's like, you don't come to my house. And he's basically arguing with me in front of the house over how I don't come and see him for 30 minutes. And I was like, you do realize where we just came from, right? And he's like, yeah, but you don't come over. I've been gone for a year. And I was like, but you do realize what just happened. Like, read the room. What is wrong with you? And he was like, but you don't come see me and this and that. Like, I care. You don't. And I was like, this is how you show you care? I take my pet to go get cremated and you're fucking up here screaming at me about not coming to your stupid apartment? Like, come on, bro. That's how you show you care? Or by telling me that I didn't console you, right, when your grandfather passed away? Like, what? Okay, bet. Then you like, I'm not gonna do anything else for you. But my dumb ass is always lying, because again, as I'm going through stuff, I go with him a couple days ago to the emergency room because he was scared to go alone because he had something going on physically. And as you guys know from the previous vlogs years ago, for anybody that was around during like 2019 or whatever, we were already going through that stuff with him medically, going back and forth to the doctor trying to figure out what's going on with his white blood cells, this, that, and the third. I stayed 7.5 hours in the ER with him. I had to go to work the next day. I didn't leave the ER until like 4:30. I got home at 4:30 and I couldn't even get up. Like, my whole body was just stuck and glued to my bed for 2 days. And so I didn't go. Like, the next day I took all day, all my might to get in a bath. I took a bath. I was like, let me relax, because I never slept. Like, I had been up for 48 hours at this point, and I just hadn't slept. So I was in the bath trying, like, I took a Epsom salt bath, and then my daughter comes in and she's like, Cairo's bleeding. And I was like, where? Find out where he's bleeding, so let me see what happened. And it wasn't Cairo, it was Rico. Rico got bit on his mouth right here, and he was bleeding, and also in his nether regions he got bit. And I think it's from Kanye and Pablo. I think they jumped my guinea pig. So those are the 2 new guinea pigs, because the other 2 guinea pigs weren't eating and weren't acting the same once Pepe was gone. And I just couldn't bear to watch them like slowly go into depression, because I tried not to get guinea pigs before, and it's just really sad to watch them mourn and stuff. It's honestly awful. And so then there was that. So I was like, hey, clean him off. I ended up cleaning off his little mouth and, you know, his regions and everything, and he seems a little shook up, you know, ever since then. But they're 2 little bullies, honestly. The next day I'm laying down and I'm like, I'm finally gonna go to sleep. It's just been really hard for me to go to sleep. I hadn't cleaned my house like in a real clean way, and since my parents were here, that's probably the last time. Life with no, just I feel dead on the inside, and just to be honest. So when I'm going and I'm helping other people, when I'm going through this and it feels like, oh my god, rejection, or, you know, like you don't care that I'm trying to help you, it just feels like a slap in the face. And it kind of feels like, why do I bother? Because I have one person probably that like really checks up on me in a way that I should know that he cares. His name is the principal. He always texts me. He's always like, you know, how is your mental health? Are you doing okay? Are you doing good? Like, are you all right? And I really felt like seen in those moments. And that's why in January, when we had like our little fallout or whatever, we have since resolved it, but when we had that situation, like, it hurt me to my core, because he was somebody I was actually going to. Like, he was somebody that I was actually asking for the thing I needed. Like, if he came over here because I needed a hug. Well, he offered a hug, and I was like, I don't get off until, I think at that time I was getting off at 7:30 or 6:30. I can't remember. I've had so many schedules. I've gotten off at 2:30. There was a time I was getting off at 5:45. There was a time that I was getting off at 6:30. There's a time I was getting off at 7:30, and now I get off at 8. And so he drove all the way from Sunland. If you don't know, in El Paso, it's pretty much the opposite of where I live. It's like the New Mexico border, basically. And he drove all the way down here to my home for 15 minutes because he came a little late for my lunch break. His plan was to spend the whole lunch break, but I only had 15 minutes. So he came down here to give me a hug. He came down here and we took a shot, and then I went back to work, and all that for 15 minutes. Like, I've never had anyone put that, like, outside of my family, put that type of effort into me. So for me, like, then I was like, I want him forever in my life, you know what I mean? Like, we aren't compatible in certain ways, but I forever wanted him in my life, you know what I mean? Because I just saw that he actually cared. He's like, hey, I'm just checking in on you, haven't heard from you, you're doing good. Hey, you know, and it's kind of like, it's consistent. So, he's like the only person that I know for sure. But anybody else, they'll have expectations of me to be around them, see them, do all this stuff, and I'm always the shitty person when I can't come through. Like, I feel ultimately bad. People don't know that I feel bad, but like, when I was supposed to see my cousin, I was supposed to see other people, and I just couldn't. Financially, I was strapped. Like, my water heater went out, I had leaks, I had problems, and you know, I would love to show up for everyone, but I gotta show up for my kids first. I have to show up for my living space first. I have to show up where I'm at first. And I think the thing that tears me down mostly emotionally and all that is that I don't have peace. So I don't go to a place to go to work and leave my house. I'm at home, so this stuff is on my mind constantly while I'm in the house. And so I think it was just making it 10 times worse that I work in the environment that was causing me stress. Like, if I could leave for 10 hours a day, it's still work, but it's out of this environment that's causing me grief, right, and causing me stress. So I literally just have the hardest time, and I'm sitting up here like losing my mind every single day. And then I think to myself, like, I'm out here trying to make sure everybody else is good, everybody else is happy, and I'm not happy. I'm trying to make sure everyone has a life boat, life jacket, whatever, and I don't have anything for myself. I am drowning, and the people around me are okay with me drowning. They're okay with taking what little I have from me and spitting in my face with it, or taking it and just leaving. I had a falling out with a friend because I told her she needed to get her life together. I was helping her out financially as I was going through stuff too. Like, I was just like, listen, you can't keep on like living like this. You have kids, you have yourself you have to look out for, you have them in safe situations. Like, and she got mad and she hasn't talked to me since. But I can't be around somebody I can't tell the truth to, honestly. Like, I just can't. It just doesn't make sense. I don't want to enable a behavior that's dangerous to the children. I'm all about protection because I never felt protected. I have abandonment issues, and I just realized, like, for me and my abandonment issues, it causes me to like not have people around me because I'm always afraid of people leaving. And I see in these moments, it's true. I'm on my own. I have to figure things out on my own because all anybody wants from me is to take and take and take and take. And they're like, she can handle it. She's been doing it forever. She can handle it. She's been doing it forever. I can't handle it. I can't function at that capacity to give and not have anything poured into myself, and not even necessarily from another person. But I have to learn to pour into myself. I have to learn to make myself a priority, because even with the kids and everything, I stop anything for everyone, and I just can't do that. I literally can't do that. So the moment the principal was stopping things for me, I felt like, damn, somebody actually sees me and is not asking for something from me. He asked for a PS5 controller, but like, to me, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't asking to drain me like emotionally. He was pouring into me. He checked in on me. When we first had our situation, it was during Lenny, when Lenny passed away, and I was telling him, like, we're gonna take her in, this is the time for the appointment. And you know, this man, at the appointment time, he's like, hey, are you there, are you good, how's everything? Oh, it's an update with Biggie. And I updated him, and then the next morning, he's like, hey, what's going on, you know? And I had to tell him, like, you know, that she had passed away. And he messaged, he's like, hey, do you need a hug, do you want to come talk, you want to come up to the house? This is my first time going to his house, because normally I only ever been to really Basic Bitch's house and GSP's house, because he lives around the corner from me. I didn't really, and I was just thinking about it, like, when I was dealing with my favorite asshole, I never went over there. But like, I don't know why, but the first time me and Basic Bitch like first saw each other in person, he just shot me his address, and I kicked it over there and spent the night over there. And then that was like the routine when I would go see him, because he's like legitimately never at home, so he wants to be at home, and I can understand that. And I'm okay with being away from my home and being in another environment. And I think that was really, really helpful to me, like all those nights I was spending the night in May and April in his place, because it was taking me out of what was stressing me, and I was having a hard time functioning, sleeping, everything over at my house, because it was just a source of stress for me. I just feel like everyone just feels like I'm an endless, like, thing of energy that they can just take from. And I feel like even T, like, takes advantage of me, because he knows that I am I don't turn him away, I don't do that stuff, so he can dip in and out and do whatever he wants basically in his mind, because I don't ever want to turn him away. I know he has abandonment issues. I know when he comes back to me, he's looking for reassurance that he's a lovable person worth loving, and he wants to know those things. I know that he needs to hear those things. I know he needs to feel those things. And so I don't shit on him, but I should, honestly, because he shits on me, you know what I mean? And it sucks, because he knows how much I care for him, and he knows death to battery. But anyways, I feel like he takes advantage, because he knows, like, how my heart feels. I know a lot of the stuff that he went through, so I always had like this super soft spot for him, because I don't ever want him to feel or walk on this earth feeling like people don't love him, or he's not lovable, or he's not worth caring about. And I understand this isolation part of it, where you don't know how to articulate your emotions, so you kind of separate yourself from people because you don't know, and you want to come back when you're well, you know, and you want to come back when things are better, because that's what I do. Like, I'll act like nothing ever happened, like I wasn't suffering through this catastrophic mental health crisis the last 2 to 3 months. I'll act like that and just come back and pop up on the scene, where I post things where people don't know that I'm going through things. And eventually, like, I stopped posting, and then people that do know me are like, hey, are you okay, is everything all right, I haven't seen you in a while, like, are you okay? And it's hard when the cheerleader's down, because you don't know how to respond. It's hard when the person that uplifts everyone else is down, because you don't know how to respond. And for me, I just feel lost. And then I'm like, why do I invest in people that, you know, wouldn't do the same for me? Why do I give time to people that wouldn't do the same for me? But then I look at life as a whole, and I just see, like, even with Basic Bitch, Like, he told me about his life and he told me about things he went through, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know what I mean? I didn't have like the best life, but comparing it to like people that have gone through so much, it's painful for me. So then I give so much grace, so much like leeway to people to treat me bad, because I'm like, they had such a hard life and they went through all these traumatic things and they don't understand, you know, the concept of love or, you know, friendship or any of that stuff. And it's just not fair on my end, because I don't do anything to anyone. I don't maliciously go out and hurt anyone. I don't do anything with malintent. Like, anytime I'm not in someone's life, it's essentially because I'm going through something, because I'm dealing with something. The real people, I feel like, would know that, and then they would know, like, to not take it offensive. Even if they don't check on me, that's fine, but like, just not to take it offensively, because this is my process, which is why, like, you know what I mean, I'm always, and this is what I'm trying to avoid, because I realized too, I was using sex as a way to cope with things that I was dealing with. So when me and well, I don't know if it was me and Basovich or just him that stopped talking to me, I don't know what the fuck, but either way, once the communication between us stopped, my thought is to go on to the next person, usually. Like, ah, fuck him, next one. But this time around, I just sat with it, like, not doing anything. And, you know, it's been hard, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm used to feeling that, like, when I'm, like, really stressed out, doing, you know, going out and doing fuck shit. And then I think that's how me and, like, Terrell are kind of the same. He went from my favorite asshole to T to Terrell, but anyways, I feel like that's how we're the same, because, like, instead of dealing with stuff, we'll do, like, shit that's kind of damaging to you, you know, like, fucking fucked up shit. Like, the day of Pepe, I was completely drunk in the morning and elevated. Like, it was just, I don't know, it was too much, like, for my mental health and where I was at and things that were going on. And it did make me look at, like, things, way I'm coping with things in certain situations. It's not all, and it's not all the time, but it was enough for me to look at situations and look at myself and, like, really take into consideration, like, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and stuff like that. That's what sucks, is I want me back and I don't know how to get there. So my boss's, like, thing is, like, hey, sometimes faking it till you make it actually helps. But I also think that's toxic to just act like nothing's wrong, because that's all I've ever done, is act like nothing's wrong. So I don't want to continue on that path, because that's what got me in this place in the first place, just acting like nothing's fucking wrong. Shit's wrong. Like, I'm having problems and I'm going through things, and that's that. Like, that's real talk. And I'm okay with going through it alone, but those moments that I have somebody like the principal is nice. When I can hug somebody and just, like, exhale is nice. When I have people that look out for me and I can be seen for once, I can be heard for once, it's nice. I like it. So I don't know, I just feel like, I don't know, maybe I was just focused on the wrong thing with the principal, and I didn't look at all the right things, you know. Like, I was so focused on, we're not compatible in certain ways, and, you know, but where it really mattered, he was compatible with me. He understood, like, mental health, you know what I mean? And he's, like, the person I kind of, like, look to or look for when I'm going through stuff. This time around, he was with his family when I was going through everything, so I literally just never hit him up. And I don't hit people up. And the ones I do hit up are just the wrong people to be hitting up, honestly. So I just need to hit up the right people, not talk to the wrong people, and just keep it pushing. Because honestly, I have to care about me on the level that I care about other people, and I have to have people around me that care about me in the way that I would care about them. Like, that's point blank and period. And if you are going through something, I just, I'm not the best at communication. That's why I don't get mad, because like I suck at it myself and I don't communicate myself. So I'm like, I can't really be like expecting somebody to do something that I don't do myself. But at the same time, if you do reach out to me and you are like, hey, I'm having issues, and then you stop talking, that's like totally different, I feel, because I don't reach out to people. I don't reach out for anybody's hand because I know I have to go these things alone. I don't like fake ass, like, oh, how are you doing? Like, I literally feel weird being like, I have a problem. I feel weird coming to people and saying something's wrong. I feel fucking weird. I'm okay with saying after I got through it, like, this, and this went on. But the fact that I even broke down to my parents, like, and I was crying like every fucking day was hard enough. And they're my parents. And I was having a hard time needing them. And I'm glad that I even had them. But I'm just not in a good space emotionally, and I've just never felt this dark for this long since Kevin's been gone. Like, I went through times and periods while he was here every fucking day that was dark, but I faked it until I made it, you know what I mean? And that's all I knew. But on my own, like, I felt great. I feel good, you know? I just want to get back to a space where I feel good and where I don't feel like I'm just essentially killing myself, because that's how I feel. It's just like I'm not taking care of myself in the right way. I'm not even drinking enough water. Like, I'm not doing anything right for myself at this point, and I'm trying. Like, I got back to like cooking once a week, you know. I'm trying to fight through whatever is going on with me. It's just taking longer than I ever anticipated. And then I was like, maybe it's because I'm not elevating. Maybe it's because I'm not doing this. Maybe it's because I'm not doing that. And it's probably a culmination of all the things, but I shouldn't need a crutch to get back to where I was. I shouldn't need any of that stuff. So I'm just gonna figure out my life, figure out what's wrong with me, and like see. I was in therapy, and the therapist, like, she canceled the second appointment because I don't remember what she said, but that was just enough for me. I'm not used to all that unreliability in a therapist, so I never went back to her because I got abandonment issues, bitch. Like, I don't do well with that shit. Like, I don't do well. So you cannot do that when you know what's going on. But I'm about to go and get my yogurt out of the freezer and see what I can do with my yogurt, and then go from there. But I've been listening to music all day today, and that's been really helpful. Even though I listen to music while I'm at work, I don't know, after work I kind of don't do anything. I'm just gonna figure it out. But I hope you guys are doing well. I love you all. I hope you have an amazing day. You are all amazing, and I hope that your mental health is in a really good place. And I'm gonna get through this. I just need time, and I just really need to evaluate who I have in my life, and does it serve any purpose for me, or is it just hurting me? Because I don't know. I'm human. I'm not like a superhuman. I have things that go on with me too, and I just don't want people like taking advantage of the fact that I'm a cool ass person, but I have feelings, you know. So anyways, I love you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. It's August the 7th, I believe. Or maybe the 8th. yeah, the 7th. And why did they say it's coming on August 10th then? And it's a Wednesday, and a Wednesday is the 9th. Let me double check the sheet. Oh, it says the 9th. I don't know, I'm on drugs. Who knows? I'm just kidding. I'm sober as I come now. Ow! I crunched myself all up in this corner, but I'm gonna try to clean up my room and get it together and eat my yogurt and take a probiotic, and I'm gonna journal, do some yoga. I'll hopefully drink enough water for once, because I've been dehydrated for about maybe about a year now, honestly, maybe. So yeah, I need to just get my shit together and get my life together. I'm kind of like hurting myself in a major way, so it's not good. But I love you guys. Please, 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 you know, take care of yourselves, love on yourselves, make yourself a priority. Don't feel guilty for doing any of those things, because you deserve to love yourself. And we all set the standard for how other people treat us, and if we're treating ourselves poorly, then that person sees that as a reflection and will do the same, right? So you have to love yourself, and you gotta make yourself a priority. And I mean, you can still help people that are like down and out, but just don't put yourself in a worse position trying to help those around you, you know, because I've always done this even as a child. So I had to work on myself. There's some healing that needs to be done, and I gotta do it, because there's boundaries that are, you know, necessary, and I don't create them, and I need to do that. So I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Bye.